Three things, three melodies your instrumental, your production have to have. I do like one-on-one seminars, and I always tell my producer in one of those classes, three things, three melodies your instrumental, your production have to have, because the human brain cannot handle more than three information at a time. So you have to craft your production in such a way that there's only three melodies that the ears can hear at every section of your song at one point in time. You could break it down to two, then bring it back to three, but it's always two, three, sometimes four, but the four is has to be hidden melody. If you listen to any hit song, that's the hit formula. Three melodies all through the song. If you have any other thing playing in the background, you have to kind of hide them so they don't compete with your main three. So you don't have something called the cognitive overload for the brain. So you don't confuse the brain. Three is like enough at every section of the song, which is verse one, pre-chorus, chorus, verse two, all those sections, only three melodies. So that's what I would advise.
Okay, got it.
I used to think like that, but once I understood the concept of octaves, so you have to realize every frequency, they operate in octaves. There's 200. So let's go back to like the lowest 20, from 20 to 40. That's an octave right there. An octave on the keyboard, that's an octave. 20 hertz to 40 hertz. You play keyboard, right?
Yeah.
Like from C1 to C2, that's an octave. How many frequencies do you have between C1 to C2? Like 12 notes.
Right.
So if you visualize those frequencies, that's how big gap from 20 to 40 hertz. But 20 to 40 hertz in a bass frequency range, because low frequency are so big.
Right.
You can't really work with much between 20 to 40 hertz. If you play a low frequency in this room, you know how big it is? It's going to fill up this whole room, just 20 hertz. The size fills up this whole room.
Right.
In size. So you can't really do much. Then from 40 to 80 hertz, that's another big gap. That's an octave right there. Then from 80 to 160, that's another octave. Let's call the 80 100. So it's even number. So 100 to 200, that's one octave. There's 12 tones in between that. Then from 200 to 400, that's another octave. And there's 12 tones in that. So you have to think about it like this. In the lower range, don't mess with too much of the gap in between because of the size. But when you cross it over to the mid range, then you can take stuff out in between. See, if I were to do that in the lower range, because the lower range is so big, I probably wouldn't do it so close like that. I would do it in octaves. I would take 20 how and put one of them in 40s and take one at 80, put it down. So I'm working in octave.
Right.
But in mid-range, because mid-range is smaller frequency, I can work in between the octaves.
Right.
I can do between 100 to 150 and between 150 to 200. And the more you go higher, the wider the space is.
Right.
To be able to work in between. Does that make sense? Or
that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I'm thinking of them as octaves.
Right.
The secret no one ever told me is what I just gave you right there. Theory of audio EQing starts from the human hearing threshold. A human being can only hear from 20 hertz frequency-wise to 20k hertz. So you see, if you go down to the bottom of span, you see on your left-hand side, it's a 20 right there. Yeah, that's the lowest human can hear. Most people, as you grow older, the range narrows up. So if you go to the other extreme, you see 20k. You see that? Okay. Now, right there, that's the limitation of audio. The second limitation of audio is when you play any reproduction sound. As we're talking right now, my voice is going into this microphone, converted to electrical signal 1 and 0, go through this computer. The computer turns into ones and zeros again, and it send it to you, and you hear it back through your headphone when the energy is being converted to mechanical energy with push and pull through your speakers. And the air create my sound. That's how sounds is created. So now the second limitation is when a reproduced sound is coming from a speaker. Now that speaker can also reproduce between 20 hertz to 20k hertz, and most of the time is one direction. Even though you may say, or other people may say, well, there's a two speaker, there's left and there's right. Yes, there's left and there's right, but the concept of stereo is an illusion, because sound is actually one dimension. The only true stereo is what we hear in real life. So once you understand all the limitations, then that brings us to when you mixing, each element need to have their pockets, meaning from 20 hertz to 20k, you have to decide who's going to win each range of this frequency. Who's going to be from my 20 hertz to 100? Who's going to win from 100 to maybe 1k? I'm just giving you range. You don't have to be the exact. You have to kind of calculate who's going to be from 1k to 3k, who's going to be from 3k to 5k, 5k to 10k, 10k to 20k. You have to decide that who do I want to be in each spot, and who is determined by the composition. If you're still having problems with stereo width, listen to this. Once you understand this, you will never have a problem with a stereo width again, ever again. The difference between left and right, that's what stereo is. This is how a lot of people do it wrong. They take guitars, they play two guitars and they pan one left and right. That is not stereo. That's two mono. You want real stereo width? Take a guitar that's playing a different pattern. Pan one to the left and a different pattern to the right. Boom. Your mix open up like crazy. There's another trick. Find something that has different sound and different timbres and pan them one to the left and one to the right. That's how you get a wide mix. Not playing the same thing and doubling it and panning to the left and right. You're just creating a mush of mono sound. If you want a one-on-one coaching, slide in my DM. I have a few slots left for this month. So, talk to you soon. This is the settings to bring out your attack.
You said to bring out an attack, right? Like when you say to bring out an attack, are you talking about like the first, like, is that only for drums you're saying?
Yes, for drums or anything that has an attack. Drum has an attack, guitar has an attack, vocal has an attack, bass has an attack. Most instruments, they have an attack. You know what attack is, right?
Well, maybe. So attack is like, is the first hit, no?
Yes, it's the first hit. Let me talk about compression. The reason why a lot of people compression, and I struggle with compression too, is because we don't really know what it does. And compression does a lot of stuff. You can use compression in many applications when you know how to use it. You can use compression to create depth, to create a perception of back to front. You can use compression to make something brighter. You can use it to make something dull. You can use compression to make an instrument just stay in one place and not move. There's so many applications for compression. So that's why it's so confusing, because it can do so much stuff. Compression, the first thing you have to ask yourself, what do I want to use it for? That's like the big question. You want to use compression? What job do you want it to do? But most of the time, I don't even compress like that, to be honest with you, unless I'm using it to maybe create a depth, or I'm using it to bring out an attack in something or remove an attack of something. Those are my application of compression. The application of compression that most people talk about on YouTube, which is to, brings a volume of something down and boost it up.
Yeah, I was about to say.
you might as well just cut the audio and just use your clip gain to move it up
That's-
and down.
That's what I always thought, and that's why I said, okay, like then what am I really using the compression for then?
Do it on the snare. Solo the snare.
Okay.
Press S. The S should solo any track.
So
Now play the snare and turn up that attack. See if you get more attack.
oh no, it diminishes it the more you turn it up.
Exactly.
Oh,
You're actually taking it
okay.
away, not adding more attack.
Okay, so compressor then. Gotcha.
Put your compressor on it. Let me just show you now. We're right here. So put a compressor on it. This is the settings to bring out your attack. Fast released and slow attack will give you more attack.